is the House of Parliament where men and women have sat for decades, making decisions that would affect all our lives. Do they really work in the interests of the people or themselves? They sit at the round tables, trying to decipher which way to turn. Is it left or is it right? Have the people benefited from those decisions? Our people have suffered for far too long. Change should not be a figment of the imagination, but reality. Every boy, every girl, every man, every woman are equally important. The market vendor joyfully sells her produce. The fish vendor skillfully uses his cutlass to cut the fish. Keep on working. Let your smile be your motivation. Build a community of brotherly and sisterly love. Don't give up on your dreams. Surround yourself with positive thinkers. Think big and keep on moving. Keep pushing the envelope. Yes, push that envelope until you have succeeded. You may have made many mistakes, but that is no reason to stop. Don't you dare give up. Get ready for that overflow. Get ready for that breakthrough. The overflow is coming. Showers of blessings. Stay cool. Stay calm. Stay collective. Ride the rough waves of life. Hold on to that rope tightly. Just keep working. Keep moving. Keep believing. Self-motivation. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Lies and Deceit. I know everybody is so excited. Everybody, I'm seeing the numbers going up by the second. And Flo, relax yourself. We are on here. We are streaming in many different places. Flo, I am paying you the highest package. I want to see no yellow line tonight. All I want to see is red line. My show is very important. I have invested in my show in that I took the highest package from you. So my internet needs to be stable. And let me also welcome all my new fans, all my new followers in TV land. I would like to welcome you. You are watching me for the very first time on Flow 118 GVD TV. Sorry, 115 GVD TV. Okay, we are on Flow 115 GVD TV. And I want to say thank you to Vitus for collaborating with me. You know, this was a work in progress for us to do this together because our aim, Vitus and I, understand the mission. We understand. We are really giving of ourselves, of our resources freely for the people of St. Lucia to hear the truth. Now, in hearing the truth, the way you support the show is buying a coffee. Buying a coffee means you are saying to Cecil, I want you to continue doing the show. Because I started the show in August, and then we just upgraded, right? There were many people who were after me, seeking me, cable channels, seeking after me to air my show on their channel. But however, Vitus spoke to me long. Since last year, Vitus and I have been speaking, and I decided, well, let's do this together, Vitus. It's in the interest of the people of St. Lucia. So again, you know, support me, buy the coffee. I am going to show a video. Excuse me. I'm going to show a video so you would know how to buy a coffee. So everybody in TV land, I just want to tell you welcome. This is Soso. This is the lady they are speaking about. This is Soso. You see me, small little lady. But I'm very powerful in that the truth have to come out. And I also want to thank E.T. of Sky FM. E.T. played my last show I did. Thank you, E.T., because it's very powerful. We have to be fair, we have to be open, and we have to be honest. So all those in TV land, the way you support me is buying me a coffee, and you're going to see a video. There are many people who realize when I upgrade and I did a partnership with GVD TV, they will message me and say, is there any other way? So if the other way is, easier way is Western Union, MoneyGram, or if you message me privately, I can give you my bank account and you can do the transfer here. So watch this tape so you could know this video, how to buy a coffee.
Hello everyone. Today we'll be learning how to show your support for Sohria Alexander through memberships and coffees. Okay? So first up guys, you need to keep this link in mind, buymeacoffee.com/Sohria Alexander. So let's go on and head on to the site. So of course you are greeted with Miss Alexander Buy Me a Coffee page. You'll scroll down to the bottom where you'll see support or membership. So of course the support option is to purchase your coffee. So we don't want to purchase 1, 3 or 5, we want to purchase a custom amount. So we'll put it right here and select 10. So of course for you guys who like to be anonymous, the name and say something nice option is optional to you. So if you would like to do that, you can, or do as you please. But in this case, I'm going to be entering a name. And I'm going to be saying something nice. I'm going to say, love your show. Keep it coming. All right. And also we know some of you have messages that you don't intend for everyone to see. So you can simply select the option, make this message private. So we're going to go ahead and press the support button. On the support page, you are greeted with the email and card number. So of course you go ahead, we're going to put johndoe@hotmail.com. And in this case, we're going to be using a dummy card number, but in your case, you'll enter your real valid card number. So of course, you put your month, your year, and the CVC of your card. And of course, you'll select the I'm not a robot option for verification. So this is simply how you go ahead and purchase your coffee. Simple. So now guys, we're going to go ahead and get a membership. So as you could see, we have different levels of membership. So you can choose what you like, whichever one you prefer. You go ahead and select that. So you just press the join button and then you're greeted whether you want to take that membership per month or per year. So we're going to go ahead and start filling in our details. We're going to put our email, johndoe@hotmail.com. And in this case, your name is required. So, and your email, so we're going to go ahead and put a name. We're going to put John Doe. And we are going to see something nice. We're going to see love your show. Now, like before, as we saw guys, you have the option to make this message private. So you could just go right here, tick, and that message is private. So of course you press the join, and then you go ahead and you enter your card and so on and so on. And of course you verify that you are not a robot. Now on this page you also have the option, because I know some of you guys may want to take more than the allotted membership, so you can simply use the free option, predefined options for you, and add it 5, 10, 15, whatever as you wish. Okay, so guys, this is actually the full tutorial. This is how you go ahead and purchase your coffee. This is how you go ahead and purchase your membership. So I want to say thank you guys. Thanks for watching. Hope this video was as informative as it could be. This was Akeem Ernest. See ya.
Yes, my people, this is how you support Soso in keeping the show on. And I would like to say thank you to Kerwin, Maria, Elsie, and a whole of other people for purchasing the coffee. Now, I have a birthday wish to do tonight. However, the picture was sent late. People, production takes time, and there's no way we could have put the picture in. I'm very sorry about that. But there is a birthday wish going out to Beresford Harden of Black Bay Viewfort. I understand that he really loves my show. It's coming from his daughter Sarah, and she's wishing you God's richest blessings. We apologize. We really couldn't do the picture because the picture came in too late. Okay, guys. So I'm wishing Mr. Beresford Harden a wonderful birthday, and I hope your birthday was filled with love. And I also realize it's my guest mother's birthday. Mom, I'd like to wish you a happy birthday and hope Mr. Joseph, Buffer, and the gang spoiled you. May you live to see many more. And to my two birthday people, happy birthday. Now, my people, tonight we are getting ready to rumble. It is so interesting. Since when that's your role? It is so interesting how many of you got so excited when I announced that my guest would be Mr. Guy Joseph. Can we have the music? It would be Mr. Guy Joseph. Everybody went into a frenzy. Since when that's your role? Who is on tonight? The Guy. Who is on tonight? The Guy. Hey! Since when that's your role? 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 Hey, Mr. Guy is on, Mr. Guy is on, Mr. Guy is on, Mr. Guy is on. Oi.
Mr. Speaker, dagading and chibola. Mr. Speaker, Gaza, I think that's your role.
Since when that's your role? Since when that's your role?
You cannot tell me nothing because you're not my boss. That's not your role. That's not your role. Mr. Speaker, you want to win and you cannot win. I pushing it and she taking it out.
We are about to introduce the man you have been waiting for. We are about to bring the man they love to hate. Mr. We are bringing Mr. Guy in. Mr. Guy is coming in now. Mr. Guy.
And she put her head on the ground. She don't even know her child father. And she living by her grandmother. And she say it's me that's a man. Mr. Speaker, that's not your role. You want to win and you cannot win.
Since when that's your role? Since when that's your role? The Guy is in the house. The Guy is in the house. Y'all was so excited. I've never seen such excitement for any of my guests. Y'all really love Mr. Guy Joseph. Who is there tonight? Mr. Guy Joseph, our former Minister of Economic Affairs, and he was also my parliamentary rep for Castries South East. So, Mr. Guy Joseph, welcome to the show, Lies and Deceit. The floor is yours. Good night, sir.
Good night, Soso, and good night to all your viewers and listeners to Lies and Deceit. I must say that you have been doing a wonderful job.
Thank
in
you.
bringing the truth out. I said it's the paradox of the title of your show being Lies and Deceit, yet still. Every time I hear you speaking, you're bringing the truth out. So I know the lies and deceit applies to the persons who are not telling St. Lucians the truth.
That's
And
right.
I have to compliment you on doing a wonderful job, taking it on your own. I mean, you said it, I'm your parliamentary rep, but we did not even have a discussion about this, because people would think you are blowing the trumpet of Flabo.
Exactly.
But I'm happy when I see St. Lucians take the initiative themselves to bring truth to the people of St. Lucia. And no matter how you do it, they'll still label you in one way or the other.
Exactly.
But in your heart, you know that no Flabo person came to you and influenced you to do what you are doing there.
True.
And that is what makes your show different from others. That you have taken the initiative upon yourself to say, look here, I can make a difference in my country. I can be a voice for those who do not have a voice. And I'm proud of you for doing that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My former, well, he's still my rep technically because I have not seen my rep from the time he took over July 26, 2021. I haven't seen Mr. Joachim Henry. I haven't seen him in our area. But you know, the excitement is here for you, Mr. Joseph. And I am so happy with what you said, that neither the United Workers' Party asked me to do this. I did this on my own. And it is a joy that when I invite y'all accept graciously and come to speak to the people of St. Lucia. Now, for instance, I just want to know, before we get into the meat of the matter, how did you feel, the night of election when you lost? Because nobody expected you to lose. Nobody. It's like it was a fait accompli. Like nobody expected you to lose. But how did you feel? How did your inner circle feel? Because I know you really love the people of Castries Southeast and you were hoping for a win.
Okay, so permit me to do something just before I answer your question.
Yes.
Which is to wish my mom
Yes.
happy birthday.
Yes. Happy birthday, Mom.
She's celebrating her 80th birthday. She celebrated her 80th birthday today. We had a very small get-together because it's limited activity even in this time, and given her age, so we had a very small get-together with some cake and champagne and
Okay,
a few
that's
of
nice.
the persons within the family. So we were able to have a short celebration with her. So I went to her street from about 5, and I had to come back to get ready, be on the show with you tonight. Also, my brother celebrated his birthday yesterday.
Wow.
That's right. He celebrated his 64th birthday yesterday. So he's the first, my mother is the second, and my father, if he was alive, would have been the 6th of March.
Oh, wow. March bonds.
Yep. So, and my wife is coming up in March. She doesn't like me to say when is her birthday. So I will not say yeah, but quite a few March bonds in the family. It's good to be able to have my mother around even at this age, because my father died when I was very young, about 12, 13 there now. And my mother has been around. So it's a good thing to know that you still have a parent who's there. And for those who still have their parents alive, they need to take the time to cherish their parents, because they are not always going to be around.
To be there, right.
Now, and to everybody else who's celebrating their birthday or who celebrated today, I wish you all the best. And to all March bonds, because we have quite a few, I take this opportunity on Soso's program to wish all of you, those who have celebrated, happy belated, and those who will celebrate, happy advance birthday greetings to one and all. Now, to your question, election night and what happened. I had received some signals from my people from early of the turnout at the polls. I expected to win the elections quite handsomely.
Yeah.
But from the time I heard the first couple of boxes called, I think Mikud was one of the places I heard very early. From the time I heard that, I told Wendy, we've lost the election.
Wow.
I was still hoping that Castries Southeast would have been in the race, but when the results came out, I must tell you, it was disappointing. But anything I don't have 100% control over, I always prepare for the worst I expect the better, but I prepare for the worst. So
Exactly.
I was prepared. I was prepared, and by the following day, I did an interview. I could not pick up the phone and call Mr. Henry because of the past bad experience that had happened. And
Right.
I hope that we get some time to highlight that on the show tonight. But generally speaking, had it been different, I would have picked up the phone and called him. But I did an interview with HTS. I congratulated him and I congratulated Philip JPA, and I accepted that we had lost the elections. And from that day, I was moving on with my life because what I said was the people elect you, and when they don't want you, they reject you. Now, people are singing a completely different song in the constituency, but I tell them what matters is what happened on election day. And I believe that we lost the seat on election day. Mobilization, the turnout of our people, or those of our people who did not show up is the reason why we lost the elections. If you go into the constituency today, I still have more support than the Labour Party. And I think even the Labour Party themselves are surprised that we lost the seat in Castries South. But that is elections. That's the nature of the game. I think they have more headaches than I do presently because at the end of the day, they have a job to do and I leave it to them. I am not trying to play that on the parliamentary rep. So I avoid as much things in the constituency as possible, not because I cannot be present. I believe there's a new parliamentary rep and he needs to be given his time, to give his representation to the people. Although the reports I'm getting, the complaints I'm getting, they are not positive ones in relation to it. But I'm hoping that he can get his act together and all the things he promised the people during the election campaign that he can deliver for them. Because I believe the people of Castries South deserve the best of representation.
Now, let me ask you something, my rep. You said something that was very, very, very critical. You said, because I remembered in 2016, the mobilization in Castries Southeast was great, was awesome. So what happened in 2021 that people were not mobilized effectively to go out to vote? Were we lax or what did happen? What happened?
Okay, so there was overconfidence one, and we engaged a lot of younger people in the election machinery. We were given a lot of bad information by the electoral department, if I must say, because first of all, we were told that the number of polling divisions would have been increased by almost double in the case of Castries Southeast. So we had a whole set of people to be inside agents who would be working on election day. And then closer to the election, they said they were going with the same number of polling divisions in the various polling stations. So we had already engaged these people, so all of them remained out there to work, and they were just on the vehicles going up and down. A lot of things was happening, but not properly coordinated. Now, I don't blame people for that. I take the responsibility for what happened because in all the elections I have run from 2006 to 2021, I have been in the forefront of all my election machinery. I have not left it entirely up to other persons, whether it be to conduct my meetings, to be present at functions and activities. But a lot of things have happened to me leading up to the election of 2021. And I don't think that I have said this on any open program before, but I will say it on episodes. There was a threat on my life at the time, 2 years before the election. So that had limited my ability to move around in the constituency as freely as I wanted. In fact, it was believed that it was so serious that I should not be anywhere without a police officer less than 10 feet away from me. So moving around in the constituency.
Okay, Mr. Joseph, just 1 minute, sir. Just 1 minute. Give us a break there. I think we need to do some adjustment. Flo is kind of messing up with the Wi-Fi. I don't know what they're doing. So we'll take a break. You'll play something and still. Okay, we're just taking a break to play something and then stay. Don't go anywhere. We're just adjusting some stuff.
Okay.
Mr. Speaker, watch the girl there whining on speaker, and she put her leg on the counter, and she put her head on the ground. She don't even know her child father, and she living by her grandmother, and she say it's me that's a man. Mr. Speaker, that's not your role. You want to whine and you cannot whine. I pushing it and she taking it out. Nowadays all the just turning artists. You signing Joseph, you put in my fist. That's your role.
Okay, so it's good now? Okay. So are we coming back now? One, two, three. Okay, we back on? Okay, let's go. We good? All right, show cameras back on. Give me a sign when I'm on. Okay, people. Hello, people. We are back. We are back. Flo was trying to give us some stress. Flo is really nasty, you know. They're really trying to give us some stress with the show. You seeing me? I'm seeing the flyer. Okay. All right, my people. So, Mr. Joseph, are you hearing me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Okay, so go ahead, Mr. Joseph. Go ahead. Continue speaking. Sorry for disturbing you. You know, Flo trying to mess us up tonight.
Okay. So I was saying that maybe 2 years leading up to the election, there was that threat on my life.
Wow.
That limited my ability to move around in the constituency as I was accustomed to. Everybody in Castro Southeast knows that I drove myself around. I did everything by myself in the constituency. And people to see persons for me, I came to visit them myself. I never allowed my secretary at the office to take messages from people. Everybody who came to see me, I accommodated them. So imagine you have established that type of reputation in the constituency, and all of a sudden people see you come into their rooms and you have other people with you. They want to have a private conversation with you, because you know people are very discreet when they speak to politicians.
Yes.
What they tell them.
Yes.
Sometimes they want to tell them, they want to tell you their little business, what's affecting them, and then it's difficult when you have somebody in close proximity to you for them to feel free. And you could hear the murmurings and the whisperings that, you know, all of a sudden he's so big he cannot, you know, be with us the way that he used to be. And when I spoke to the police and I asked them, well, can I make a statement? And the advice was, no, you should not do that. So I heeded the advice. And I'm coming down to the election itself. I think apart from what COVID did to impact us negatively in the elections, that what had happened to me in the constituency was a challenge to meet. And more so, Castries South is not a constituency that have voted any representative more than twice prior to my time winning a third time. So I knew that winning a fourth time, it had nothing to do with performance, relationship, or anything. The people of Castries Southeast usually change their representative every 10 years. And you go back to the record and you would see Maroc served for 5 years, then Odlum came on the stage. Odlum did not last very long. Then Clarence Rambali came, he served 1 term. Gregory Avril 2 terms. Menesa Rambali 2 terms. And all of these people going on to their 3rd term lost the elections. I was the only one who won a 3rd term and maybe the only one who won in opposition, because that is one of the biggest swing constituencies. So whenever there's a swing against the sitting government, Castries Southeast goes with the swing. So a lot of factors came into play in the elections. There was lots happening on the ground on election day. And I can give you an example when my people in certain areas said, hey, they are paying people to vote, and the fellas on the block and different places, they say, if they don't get paid, they are not voting. And I said to them, I'm not going to pay people to go and work hard for them. If I have to pay people to vote for me, then it's my time to make my exit out of it after politics. I will not go and pay people to vote for me and then say I win an election. I don't believe in that, and I would not do it. Now, I know on both sides of the political divide that it happens. So I'm not accusing Labour of it and saying that Flabo has never done it. But I'm saying in Castries Southeast, I have not known that we've had to pay people to vote for us. So at the end of the day, I felt that I did enough work in the constituency that should result in a favorable election outcome. The people fought otherwise, so I gladly accepted the people's call and I move on with my life.
Yeah, I totally, again, you, Mr. Guy Joseph, and me, So, we are a threat to the government of St. Lucia, because I am telling you, whenever I have powerhouses on my show, what happens is that Flo just dropped my signal very bad, because I have the highest package with Flo, and Flo is really forming the fool tonight because they do not want St. Lucians to hear the truth. Now, unfortunately, I cannot shift to Digicel because Digicel had asked me to come over, but they're not in my area yet. So Digicel have to work very fast to come in our area. Now, it is an indictment on Flo to do this because the people of St. Lucia need to hear the truth, and we're going to continue speaking. So I am telling you, and I'm telling my world, the thousands of people out there, TV land, what Flo is doing. We are seeing it on our system. They're just dropping our bandwidth, so we won't have a good show. We won't be able to bring our message out there. So we are hoping that they stop, because we know what they're doing. It's a free world. It's free speech. Now, Mr. Joseph, why would they want to kill you? That's what I want to know. Because politics supposed to be, from what I know, everybody air their views, everybody vote for who they want, who they don't want. Why in God's green earth would they want to kill you? What you think was the reason? Because politics is like, yeah, I go up against you, right? You go up against me, and at the end of the day, we are friends. So what is happening? Or what happened to make you believe that your life was in danger? Well, I know about the guy coming to the church and whatever.
No, that's not even, that happened long before the incident of the church. So, wow. I mean, it was intelligence from the police. I didn't know that my life was
my God.
danger. It was the police who came to me and informed me that they had intelligence that said that this was the situation. And remember, a few times I said in Parliament and I said on the media that if the Labour Party had to kill to be in office, then they were willing to do so. They would stop at nothing to be in office. And I believe that it was God's will that I lost that election. I'm telling you, everything showed that I was winning. Every poll that was conducted, both by the Labour Party and by the United Workers' Party, every indication on the ground was that I was winning. At the end of the day, I lost. I always leave the outcome of elections to God. I always pray and I tell God, look, you do what you see is best. In fact, today I was saying to Peter Josie and Champagne, I was saying to them, when I first came up for elections in 2006 against Menisa Rambali, every time I prayed, I would tell God, if you know I am not going to do better than these people, then don't let me win. That is how serious I take what I do when it comes to representing people. If I cannot give 100%, then I don't come in at all. And I guess that's why the Labour Party had a problem with me. I can tell you, I was approached by the Labour Party very early. Before my name ever surfaced in UWP, I was approached by persons in the Labour Party to challenge Menisa Rambali in a runoff. Now, I know how the Labour Party operated. I didn't want to be a part of it. I've always been a supporter of the United Workers' Party. The time I did not support the United Workers' Party was when Sir John brought in Vaughan Lewis as the leader. And he came to a meeting with us in Forestier, and I said, Sir John, you see this man you brought there as Prime Minister, there's no way we can support him. Because you see, if it was Romanus Lancico or Louis George or any of the other persons who were party, we would have supported them as the leader. And I told it straight to Sir John. But I still wasn't very eager to go and support the Labour Party. In fact, I never started out supporting the Labour Party. Hezekiah Rambali wanted to run for the Labour Party. And they did not want him to run as the candidate. So Hezekiah called a group of people together and he said, look, whether they want me or not, I'm going to run as an independent candidate. And he started doing work in the constituency. That he had equipment, and the late Hezekiah Rambali was a people's person. He was well loved by the people in the constituency. He was a very nice gentleman to a lot of people. So he was rallying a lot of support. And it's when the Labour Party realized that he was getting that level of support that they finally embraced him to run. And then when he passed suddenly, Menisa was still at school in Trinidad. They went and get her to run the seat. I can tell you, ended up on a Labour Party platform. I was coming from church on a Saturday evening. And the Labour Party came to have a meeting by the cemetery in Forest. And Menisa's mom, because we are close friends, we've been close, speaking to them on very good terms with the family. She said, we don't have anybody from the community to speak on behalf of Menisa. Menisa is a young person, we need to give her a chance. So I said, I can speak, but I will speak my mind. I can tell you, Damian Greaves was there, Mr. Zaloon, Mr. Shangu, better known as Zaloon, was there. He was the one chairing the meeting in the back of his little pickup, Mr. Bushipan. With my church clothes on, I went on the platform in the back of the van, and I spoke. And I said that I believe Menisa as a young person, we can give her a chance. But I made it very clear that if you don't keep to what you promise the people that you are going to do for them, then I will be the first to oppose you. Not that I had any intentions of running for politics at the time, but As fate would have it, um, and I hear a lot of people talk so about all of the things and who brought them in and how they came into politics. And some people they want to latch on to the name of Sir John and do all kinds of things. I'm not among those who come and boast about this thing. I did not want to be in politics. Nobody in my family wanted me to be in politics. So you see all the blows that we have taken in politics. It's not because anybody in my family saw an opportunity in politics. We were all doing fairly well as individuals, making a living for ourselves. None of us was working for government, so we were never involved in government jobs. Everybody, my sister used to be the manager of Singer at the time. Well, prior to me going into politics, my brother had his own machine shop. My other brothers was into construction. We were into trucking. We were into furniture manufacturing. We were into farming. I mean, we were the first to begin to import sand into St. Lucia and ready mix and all of these things. My brother was into ordering equipment and selling. So we had a lot of family business going on. People want to make it look like it's because you come into politics that you have something to do. I had more vehicles before I came into politics. I had trucks, I had equipment, I had buses on the road. I had everything before I came into politics. But all of a sudden, once you land in the political arena, everything that you have is because of politics. In 1993, when 1993 or 1994, Tropical Storm Debbie, I was building my second house. I came into politics in 2006. So now going back to what I was saying about Sir John, Barbara Montu was my banker, Bank of Grosdale, Bank of St. Lucia branch in Grosdale. Every time I went to the bank, everything I needed to do, I'd go to Barbara. We would sit down, we would chat about politics. She would tell me, you need to come and join the UWP, you need to come and run. I said, I'm not interested. And Barbara can tell you, for years, Barbara telling me, you need to be involved in the politics. And I kept on saying, I have no interest. When I was president of the Minibus Association, Felix Fenester said to me, man, we need to find a seat for you to run. We cannot have you out there against us at all. I mean, these were but I wasn't interested in politics because I felt that I had a reasonably good life outside of politics. When Sir John came to me, I said to Sir John, I'm going to support you, but I don't want to run the seat. Sir John tell me, I don't want your support if you're not running the seat. I want you to run the seat. George Odlum came to me prior to that 2016, the 2001 elections, and tell me the late George Odlum, he said, I was told the only person who can help me to win that seat is you. I said, Brother George, I put down my boots in politics. I don't want to be involved in nothing pertaining to politics. I campaigned for minister with Claire Ward on I think it was May Day, the 1st of May, which was a holiday. And I spoke on her platform in Forestier, and that was the extent of my involvement in a Labour Party campaign. So when Sir John told me that he wants me to run the seat, I was in the constituency helping Sir John to find a candidate to run. Now, I will choose not to mention names that we had looked at.
Yeah.
And Sir John tell me, I don't care about these people you telling me. I want you to run the seat. And he said to me, eventually, he said, Guy, let me say this to you. You think at this age, I want to come back into politics? He said, as a young man, I entered into politics fighting the Bernards,
Yeah.
who he felt was oppressing the people of St. Lucia. And he said, at that age, I am seeing another Bernard destroying the work that we have done to build this country. And I cannot sit by and allow, after all of this work that we have done to build St. Lucia, to allow, I am coming back at this age to fight another Bernard again. And he said to me, you think I'm doing this for myself? I'm not doing it for myself. I'm doing it for people like you, the younger generation. You all are the ones going to benefit from rescuing St. Lucia from the hands of the St. Lucia Labour Party and Dr. Kenny Anthony at the time. And it was that statement that Sir John made to me, said to me that I said to myself, okay, if I'm going to complain about the politics, how the Labour Party is governing the country, and not do anything about it, then why complain?
Exactly.
So I said, at least if I try and I don't win, I can say I made an effort to
exactly.
change things. But if it didn't work, I would be comfortable with myself.
Exactly.
But then I decided I'm coming in. And we ran an election in 2006 with no money. And for all the people who want to accuse me, I tell them I have a track record. You see, the Labour Party is good at destroying people's reputation. And that is why we cannot attract good people in politics in this country. Look at the characters that we have in the politics.
Oh,
Their
yes, seriously. Oh, it's terrible.
Reputation precedes them. If you look at the candidates on the UWP, you look at an Ezekiel Joseph. Did you hear anything bad about Ezekiel Joseph before he came into politics?
No.
You take Gail Rigobert. What did you hear about Gail Rigobert before she entered politics?
Absolutely nothing.
Dominic Fede. You go down the line, Spider-Man 2. You name the candidates of UWP. You would not hear they were involved in drugs. You would not hear they were involved in money laundering.
Exactly.
They were involved in corruption or anything. Prior to me being in politics, all you heard about me was what I was doing in the minibus sector. But once you enter politics against the St. Lucia Labour Party, and so you are experiencing that. You're not even in the political arena.
Yes.
You're just out there speaking, and look at the extent to which they will attack you.
Viciously again.
You know the Labour Party is worse than Russia.
Yes, they're worse than Russia. And the characters they have in that party, in that government.
They try to stifle freedom of speech.
Yes.
They don't want people to be able to speak their minds.
No.
They do not even realize that the landscape has changed.
Oh, yes.
That media is no longer a radio station and a television station. That the internet has taken over. Social media
by
is the
storm.
means of communication today.
Yes.
And I mean, look at the number of thousands of people you are reaching with your program.
Yes.
Do they think they can stop the people from speaking? They can stop the people from expressing themselves. So that's what I'm saying. Coming into the political arena. And so when people want to talk about who Sir John handpicked and what he did, I was handpicked by Sir John, and he would accept nothing else. At a meeting at the Sarot Junction, the Sarot with Labe, a stone throw away from Mendisa's home, Sir John stood in the back of a truck. I was having a meeting there, and he said, the position I want to give Guy Joseph, he cannot get it through the Senate. He must win that seat. Sir John knew exactly where he was going to put me once we had won the elections long before. And you know who I got the information from? Many years after Sir John passed, Cyril Borai down in Viewfort.
In Viewfort.
I can call the names because that is a place that Sir John frequented whenever he was in the South. And he said, because I was always amazed also, the number of times Sir John would invite me to his office in town. And when people think that Stevenson King had the best relationship with Sir John, they are sadly mistaken. And I heard Mr. Prudence interview with you. I don't agree with some of the things. I guess the persons who gave them the version of what happened gave them a version that was convenient. I have never been in a cabinet meeting where Sir John was ever insulted or cursed or anything. I'm not saying that it never happened.
Okay.
I am saying that at no cabinet meeting that I was present was Sir John ever. Nobody never raised their voice at Sir John. Nobody never disrespected Sir John in a cabinet meeting where I was present. Because I think Sir John had a level of respect from everybody within the party, at least to his face, to his back. And you know that's how St. Lucia, a lot of St. Lucians are.
Yes,
to
very
your back,
vicious.
they will see the worst people. But when it comes to your face, they are the nicest person. So looking back at what transpired, as I was saying, I was handpicked by Sir John. He knew exactly what he was going to do. And when we came into government, when I understood the relationship between Stevenson King and Sir John, I realized, because Sir John would call me to his office and he would tell me certain things, and he would tell me, now, if anybody knows that, I know if I didn't tell them, it's you that told them because you are the only one I told them. And I was even nervous at times why Sir John would give me that kind of information. I tell you, it was years afterwards I realized from conversations with Mr. Borai that Sir John was giving me information to test how much he could trust me. And we would go to a meeting upstairs. We would go to a meeting upstairs, the war room, and I would sit there, and I had to sit as if I know nothing when I knew everything because Sir John had already told me everything. If you watch the by-election campaign in Castries Central, when Richard became the candidate, when Sir John said he's not taking no part in Batem or when Sir John said that, you know why Sir John said that? Because we had made the decision that we were going to contest the seat. Stevenson King was supposed to contest the seat. So what he did, he said, give him a little time to think about it. And he took 2 weeks. And when he came back to the party, he said he cannot run the seat. So all the time, the time that was left, there was no more time left to go and mobilize and do anything. When I was going upstairs the war room, Angel Brett met me downstairs. And Angel said to me, "Guy, I know you all don't support Richard running the election, but just don't speak against him because anybody who beats Labour is an advantage to UW. And if you look at the campaign in Central Castries, you'll see a lot of other UWP candidates who are involved in the campaign of Richard in Central Castries. You never see Guy Joseph by a meeting. You never saw me. The night when Richard won, I took a different vehicle and I drove down to town in disguise. I never put down the windows. Nobody never saw me in Castries. You know why? Sir John told me, you see this thing that's going on in Central Castries? I don't want you anywhere close to that. Do not put yourself there. So when Richard was finally accepted, when he removed his green shirt in the boulevard, and Sir John stood up and Sir John presented him, Sir John said, you all chose him, not me.
Yes, I remember
and Sir
that.
John,
You correct.
wanted to be attorney general, or he wanted to be in charge of the police. And I know the Americans were very, very concerned about that. But Sir John, being the old fox that he was, Sir John was able to create a ministry and call Richard Frederick and convince Richard Frederick that he had given him the best possible ministry there was, in that he became the Minister of Housing.
Mm-hmm.
In future, I will deal with the other aspects of the relationship between Stevenson King, because he said he has a library, but I have the whole of Google on it. So when I'm ready,
You have the whole Google on it.
yes, I will open it out on him, because you see, you cannot be, because what Stevenson King did, there is no different from what was happening, And ask them. They wanted to use Sir John to win the elections, but the plan was to bring back Von Lewis. So a few of them, every time the meeting was over in the war room, they would go to meet with Von somewhere on the morning and give him ball by ball commentary on everything that happened. And the Von Lewis, you see, I went to Trinidad. I met with Von Lewis. I tried to speak to him to convince him to run the Central Caste Receipt. I said, Sir John is not going to be around forever. If you run the seat, you win the seat, anything that happens with Sir John, you will become Prime Minister again. So why won't you run the seat? And he kept on saying, yes, the same thing that Steve did us is the same thing that Von Lewis did. And the next thing you know, Von was in labor. So you see, some people have a good way of disguising their true motives. Other people are blunt, like me. I don't take prisoners.
Just
I
like
say
me.
as I see it. I come out straight. People don't have to guess where I stand on a matter.
Exactly.
They know where I stand on it.
Exactly.
I had a very good relationship with Sir John, an excellent relationship. I had an equally good relationship with Stevenson King when he was Prime Minister. And I have the same relationship with Alan Shasney. Why? Because I learn the people around me, I adjust myself to them, and I learn to work with them. Anybody who can, any ministry I run, go and ask the staff in the ministry whether they had any problems with it. Alison John was my PS. When Dr. Plummer, Alison Gajada, when Alison Gajada, when they wanted to move her there, I said, give her, send her to my ministry. They said, you going to work with Alison as your PS in housing? I said, why not? And I keep on saying this. For 5 years, I was Minister of Economic Development, and my Deputy Permanent Secretary is niece to Dr. Kenny Anthony. And I never had a problem with her. I never tried to move her from the ministry. You think I have anything to hide? Anybody in the ministry think that if there was something I needed to hide, that I would keep these people around me? But I always tell them, when Labour Party people are around me, they become my protection. Because if there's a temptation to do something, you know you cannot ask them to do anything. You think I could ask Alison Jean to do something for me in the Ministry of Communications and Works at the time that was not in keeping with the law? And when these people talk about fighting down people, you remember Lester Arnold was the chief engineer at the ministry? The year we implemented the highest percentage of the budget of the Ministry of Communications and Works, we accomplished over 70% implementation. When she had to give an appraisal to Lester Arnold as the chief engineer, she gave him a score of about 17 out of 140 plus. These people think they can talk to me.
Whoa.
How you could look at a man as bad as you may think that his performance is, and you're going to give him a score of 17 or 14, either 14 or 17, out of a score of 100 plus.
Whoa.
And I told you we implemented, that was the highest percentage rate of implementation by the ministry in decades. So you think I don't know the people around me? Now these are the things that I call them out. I call out public servants who mess around. Because I don't ask them to do anything for me under the table. I do ask them for those side deals. Speak freely. I am out of government today. There are no statutes of limitations for anything that we did that was corrupt. I challenge the Labour Party and all of them to go and find out one thing that guy did in government that was illegal or corrupt. They cannot.
Now, Mr. Joseph, let me just ask you something there. The St. Lucia Labour Party, when they were in opposition and in campaign mode, they did irreparable damage to your character with lies and deceit. But what happened? The people of St. Lucia bought it. Now, if you realize what they are doing now, they are saying, well, Philip J. Pierre is saying that he has now hired a special prosecutor to come after anyone who has done things that were not above board within the previous government. And from what I'm seeing, he's taking aim at you and Alan Chasney. Now, this is what they did. They broke the mold, which is you and Alan Chasney, who was really pushing the country forward. Now, what I need you to tell my audience and the thousands of people who are listening in TV land, I need you to explain to them those attacks, because those attacks, you defended yourself. I must say that you went on Sky FM and you defended yourself. But let me tell you what happened to you, Mr. Joseph. The other media houses were against you. They would not air your truth. So they were against you. So all the insults and the lies and the deceit buried you. But I like the fact that you defended yourself. So you here tonight, speak to my audience about all those junk and all those lies and deceit they said about you.
So I know you said about, and maybe it's just a misuse of, they damaged my reputation. My character is still intact.
Right.
Because, you see, your reputation is what people think
of you. Right.
Your character is who you are.
You are.
And nobody in the Labour Party can touch my character. You see who I am? Only myself and God, not even the devil.
Mm-hmm.
Because the devil can make you do anything you don't want to do.
Exactly.
You must yield your will. You must yield your will to the devil for him to be able to make you do something.
I totally agree with that. Yes.
So that's why I attribute doing only God and myself can damage or change my character.
So you are right. Your reputation, they try to damage it, but your character is intact. I agree with that.
But they have damaged my reputation. There's no question. Because I say to people, it's not the best feeling walking around and everybody looks at you as if you have stolen something from them, you have been corrupt, you have been crooked. And if it's one thing I pride myself on, is my honesty. Mm-hmm. And I've always said it, I get into more trouble for being honest than for being dishonest. Because I cannot go and make up stories. I cannot go and say lies about people.
Exactly.
15 years I was in the Parliament of St. Lucia. I was on every talk show, on every house. I was one of the most vocal persons in the Parliament. For once could they challenge something that I said and come back and prove that what I said was not so. If I ever gave information that was incorrect based on what was given, I would come back and I would correct it after and I would apologize for it. Because that's what I believe in. I grew up with certain values. as a person that I cannot compromise on this. And I've said to people, I'm not a person with God. Like people say, who jobless, no man curse. But what they do not
Our friend famous words.
Okay? Some people do things and they use God. I am not that type of person.
Exactly.
It's not because I believe any less God than them, but I know who I am. And I've said to them that God has been good to me for where He from to where He placed me in my life for me to do things that would bring shame and reproach to Him. And for me to bring reproach to my family or to my constituency of Castries Southeast, for people to come back and say, hey, tout se bala yo te di guy fait this, he fait that la, mi li hod ya, mi nou jwen. Up to a day like today, the Labour Party cannot show a single thing that I have done. Now, I can tell you, I know there are 3 investigations going on presently, but they're doing it quietly. One, with all the projects in my constituency, they have gone and measured all the drains and concrete roads and everything from to the thickness of the concrete on the to the width of the drain and everything. I want them to release that report, because when they release the report, they would realize that there's more value on the ground in Castries South than what. The second investigation has to do with the Pajoa letter that they did. So I understood that the audit department is in this. And I'm laughing at that because I want to see what they're coming up with. And the third investigation is where they said they have the special prosecutor putting all of the things together into task. Now, so I have 2 documents. This one here is part of the linguist report. That's one, and that's the other FICA document that has all of the things investigated. It has the draft interim findings, the Taiwan chronology, the road chronology, the airport chronology, and the asphalt and mining and other Leon chronology. In this report, has more about Stevenson King than it has about Guy Joseph. And I can show them who used to pay people's passage for them to travel to the US. And it wasn't Guy Joseph's passage that was being paid. It's in the linguist report. That is why the Labour Party, that is why I believe that the Labour Party have been in discussions with Stevenson King for a long time. Both in relation to the impacts report and in relation to the linguist report. So he can't speak loud because they have information on me.
So basically what you're
saying... I can speak loud.
Yeah, let me just butt in it. So basically what you're saying is that if they're gonna take that report, the linguist report, and do anything with it, it would point more to Stevenson King. Is that what you're saying?
Of course.
Whoa.
And I say that without, because I have the document to back up what I'm saying. So what I tell you, if you see the nice things they have about, the most wonderful CV I ever saw myself is in the linguist report. In fact, the last time I had to send a CV somewhere, I took the X from the linguist report because that is so beautifully written.
Wow.
You would think somebody they were promoting to write that kind of a CV on that individual. I laughed at that. I saw it. My wife said, wow, I couldn't write a CV so nice for you.
It was so good. Oh my goodness. Now let me ask you something. Let me just ask you something. Because what the St. Lucia Labour Party did when they were in opposition, they made people believe that you were the owner of First Start and you were the one giving First Start all the contracts, all the deals. Just expound on this for my viewers, please.
So what they did, the first term in government, there was no Fresh Start. So what did they do? They said I was the owner of asphalt and
mining. Right.
Then the documents came out and showed who was the owner and what was happening. So now this time in government, they know who the owners of Fresh Start is. They have all the documentation. And it is very sad for us as a people that we would believe the things that politicians say without even verifying the information. I mean, it's sad. Because look at what they said about Keith Mondesi. And I'm watching them with Sky FM because Sky FM had banned Keith Mondesi from making calls on Sky FM. So he has a bias against the studio. You put him on a commission to try and deny Sky a license to operate when you bought an existing radio station with no objections, where the owner said he is relinquishing the frequency, he no longer, and he's requesting that it be transferred to Sky. So you buy a business and the owner of the business says, I want the proceeds of that business to go to that entity, or the goodwill of the business to go to that entity. Now it is the owner cannot transfer the frequency because the frequency is owned by the state. So it had to go through a special process. So I'm just waiting for them to make their move, and the next thing they will know, for the first time, the NTRC, ECTEL, has been brought into disrepute by Stevenson King. I served 2 terms on ECTEL. ECTEL never got involved in political things. Jimmy Fletcher served as the representative for ECTEL with telecoms. It was not brought into disrepute. It was not 3 months that Stevenson King became the Minister for Telecommunications, and ECTEL was already acting ultra-virus what the law is, because we know that the recommendation went from the NTRC to ECTEL for the transfer. Now, I've not said anything because I know ECTEL. I know all the ministers who sit on ECTEL. I could pick up the phone and call any of them because we were colleagues who worked together from the different islands. I have never picked up the phone to call one minister to try and lobby anything. I want them to do what they are doing, and when they have done what they want to do, for the first time, this regional organization will be brought before the courts to answer its name, because I know what they are trying to do. So they know they cannot deny Sky the frequency because the recommendation has been made. So what they're trying to do is to change the frequency from 93.1 just to pacify Stevenson King because he made some foolish statements before. You're going to run a country and take a regional organization and bring it into disrepute for your cheap politics? But that is what passes for governance under a Labour Party. So all the people who think that Stevenson King is so clean and so nice, ask him all the equipment that came to View 4. And they said was me that brought in the equipment. Ask him how the equipment got cleared. And Alison Jean and Josiah Charles were the 2 persons who did the investigation on it. So Alison Jean knows, because she was the one who came and reported to me how the equipment was cleared and who the equipment belonged to and whose friend was the owner of the equipment. But you see, the thing about it is, with me so, I take the blows because as part of a team, so I took the blows for Steve. Everybody was thinking that I had something to do with that equipment. I had nothing to do with it. In fact, when I asked customs, and the former controller of customs can tell you, not Chico, the one who was there before we came into government. He knows that I called him and I told him this equipment was cleared as belonging to the government of St. Lucia, and the government of St. Lucia did not own the equipment. And the broker who did all of the transactions on behalf of the owner of the equipment is well known in UWP circles. I will choose, because I don't want to mention people's name and bring them into disrepute.
Right.
But I want one of them to come and challenge me and say that what I'm saying there is not true. And when I called the controller of customs and I said, you see this equipment that is there, you need to do something about it. So you see, just the same way they had gone and put the seal on Richard's 2 vehicles in his yard, and they were seized, they went and they seized all the equipment that was packed by the Kakabef in Viewfort.
Whoa.
You know what happened? And they sent them a bill for $4 million. Stevenson King was the Minister for Finance. Customs fell under him. Ask him how much money they paid and all the equipment went.
Wow, wow.
So when people think that they can attack Guy Joseph, because you know what? I have nothing to fear. They can search from now until Jesus comes. They can never find something that I did in government that was illegal, or if I did something out of ignorance and it was brought to my attention, I corrected it. I don't pretend that I know everything, even if people think that I think I know everything. You know what? I seek advice. Every permanent secretary that I've worked with, you know what I tell them? If I ask you anything that is not in keeping with the law, the rules of the service, you need to tell me, Minister, this cannot be done. And you are free to disagree with me. I will not be at loggerheads with you if you tell me that cannot be done. I don't want yes people around. I want people who can challenge me, because I know I can stand my ground and I can defend something. So nobody wrote speeches for me in government. You see, every time I gave a budget speech anywhere I went, I wrote my own speech. And if somebody wrote notes for me and they gave it to me, and there was anything I didn't understand, I would say, no, you come and explain this to me. Because I'm not going to go there and read a speech from you and I don't know my knee from my elbow in the speech. That's not my style. If I don't know it and I don't believe it, I don't speak it. That is who I am. But you see, the Labour Party knows that. I've dealt with fellas in the Labour Party. They know me. They will meet me. Philip JP said to me, the two of us are the best politicians in the House. He himself and me, the two best politicians. All of them, we would interact at a level, but they will go out there and they will use their people to paint pictures of you. So if they said, I've stolen all of these things, where are they? Why can't they show? I declared to Integrity Commission every year. I did my tax returns. And I've told them, I have brothers and I have sisters. They can check what we had before I came into government and see what they have now. What is it? What is there? You see, some people came into government empty-handed. Some people came into government after they had defrauded people. Some people came into government for crooked means. I was a hard-working man. I was a farmer, a furniture manufacturer, an equipment owner, a bus owner, at a parts shop, at a tire shop. So I can show them the track of success that I have followed in my life and why I have the things that I have. I didn't come into politics to beg. I came into politics, and I was offered money to run politics. I did not take the money. You know why? Because I believe that if I had taken the money from the people who are offering the money, and one of the meetings, who organized the meeting for me? Richard Frederick organized a meeting for me to go and collect money from a certain businessman in the 2006 election.
Thank God you never went.
And because believe me, I needed the money to go and run the elections because we were promised money by Sir John and the money never came. So we were running with no budget. We ran the election in 2006. And so the morning of the meeting, I stayed there and I said to myself, if I go and collect money from this individual, it means that when I get into government, that's who I am owing, and not the people who voted for me.
Exactly.
So I said, you know what? I am not going to take. I didn't go to the meeting. Richard called me afterwards and said, man, you taking me for a party show. You have me organize things for you. I tell him I got caught up. I didn't want to tell him why I did not do. I had a meeting the week after that. I was in the lobby area. And I said, a lot of people are coming to me and asking me for money to support me for elections. I tell them, if you have money, go to Melissa. And Melissa could hear me from her balcony where we were having it. I said, the Labour Party is the one giving money. If you want money, go and ask. If you want representation, vote for Guy Joseph and I will give you representation. And that is why I stuck to representing the people of Castries Southeast. And there's not a single community that you can go to in Castries Southeast and you will not see something that was done by Guy Joseph. Because when the people voted me, I had to keep the promise of giving them.
Now let me interrupt you there. You are so right in what you're saying, deja vu, because this afternoon I took a walk in my area and I passed through the back and I went to one of the roads you built, and I'm saying to my son, one thing, Guy really worked. You could say what you want about him, but Guy Joseph really worked. And we looked at this beautiful road and how the area, the houses increase in value. So anybody, you are right to say, anybody who did not vote for you, they had their own reasons because you really and truly worked for the people of Castries Southeast.
Yes, and so going back to the issues about what the Labour Party has done, that is the same old strategy. And my disappointment with our own UWP people is that we allow the rhetoric of the Labour Party to resonate with us more than it should. So look at what they did. They did it to Von Lewis. They call him Toujours Sous. They labeled him. They did all kinds of things to Von Lewis. And then they turned around and they took the same, Rainbow's Edge. Have you had the opportunity to read Rainbow's Edge?
No, not yet.
The book that Kenny wrote, and if you see the things that it has about Von Lewis and all of this, and I'm saying, you do all of that. And when the time comes, you take Von, you put him on the platform, and you say that's water under the bridge. And as if nothing mattered. And so the same Von who was the devil is now the best person to run for Labour. Take Lon Theophilus. We wanted to make Lon Attorney General. And based on the accusations of the rape and all of these things that was made concerning him, we were afraid of touching him and saying, boy, if we make that Attorney General, the Labour Party will come after us and this and that. Spider was very much in his corner to support him to be Attorney General.
Yeah.
Some of us were scared to make him Attorney General because of what we believe, the reputational damage that had been done and all of that. What did Lati do? Took the same law cleaned him up, made him the candidate, and beat us in Choiseul in a seat that we should have won. We still did not learn from that. We said we lost the elections in 2011 because of Richard Fedrick. What happened? We discarded Richard Fedrick. Labour Party took Richard Fedrick, worked with him. Today, he is a sitting minister. What has changed about Richard Fedrick other than his political affiliation from UWP to SLP? Has his character changed? All the things they said about him, what has changed? Only the color of the shirt that he wears.
That has changed. Now, Guy, let me ask you something, because this has been a burning question. People have been asking me. Everyone is trying to find out what is happening. For instance, we know of Jimmy Fletcher, and he was once in the parliament and government with the St. Lucia Labour Party. But you know, ants carry news, and we are hearing that Mr. Fletcher, Jimmy Fletcher, wants to be part of the United Workers' Party. I just need to know your feel on that. If he wants to be part of the organization, what is your feel on that? Because, you know, I believe the United Workers' Party, and you're right, I think you're on the right track into where the party should go. The party should be open, honest, and upfront to the people, and that is what people want. So I need to find out from you. We're hearing that Mr. Fletcher wants to be part of the United Workers' Party executive. What's your take on that?
Okay, I will come to that, but I just need to conclude the point that
okay, not a problem.
I don't want to miss out on
okay.
The Labour Party too. What they said about Stevenson King, apart from Richard, they tell you the only certificate he had was his birth certificate. And how he was uneducated, and how he was this, and how he was that. And they walked out on us in the parliament, and they called us renegades, and all of this. I mean, have people forgotten that? What about Stevenson King, other than him now affiliating to the Labour Party? So, I want Flabo people to come to understand that when you allow the propaganda of the Labour Party to get to you, you know, the same people we always discard, the Labour Party takes the same people and come back and beat us. So it is obvious that the Labour Party is doing something better than we are.
Exactly.
And we have not
learned from that. Exactly.
We have not learned anything from that. So because the Labour Party's strategy is always the same. Go after the key people in the party. Once you can destroy these people you're good to go. You go to destroy the party. And they have succeeded every time they have won an election. You remember the time they used to call Sir John Jabla and this
Miss Jabla, yes.
When they went after George Odlum, who was the bedrock, who formed the base of the Labour Party, what did they call him? The Great Satan. So when you look at the Labour Party has no mercy on anyone.
I tend to agree with you. They have no mercy on anyone, especially me. They are coming at me with daggers, and like you say, they might even put a hit on my life. They have no mercy on anybody.
That is the only method they know.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that this time around, Flamos will open their eyes, and the people of St. Lucia will open their eyes and see. I mean, you want to accuse me of corruption. You cannot find a single thing on me. But this whole situation with Hile and the vehicle and the joint account with Jufali and all of that, no questions asked. Our seabed sold by Kenny Anthony to Grindberg. Nothing for that. And I have documents to show you. The Rochamel situation, the Commission of Inquiry showed that we were not obligated to pay 1 cent to to the Royal Merchant Bank. Yet still Kenny Anthony went to the parliament, took the government of St. Lucia's money and paid for private shares inside Rochamel. And then you want to turn around and you want to look at people. And it's sad for me, so that you're looking at that situation. And because the Labour Party is better at their propaganda,
They are
people
good.
buy into it.
Yes, they are
People
very
don't
good.
even investigate. I mean, when I hear people say, oh, Guy and Shasley took all the money from the consolidated fund, you know how difficult it is. Only the accountant general can sign a check for money to come on
Exactly.
2 or 3 signatories from the accountant general's office. How are you taking out money from the consolidated fund?
Exactly.
I mean, it is crazy that people would, and you are thinking that people are intelligent, that people would, basic common sense, business people would be able to come around and say, oh, that's foolishness, that cannot happen. You think Shasley could have just gone to the supermarket and take a trolley of groceries and just go out with it because at one time he owned Julian Supermarket?
No, he had to pay. No.
He had to pay. He had to get his checkbook, his credit card or something. He had to pay. If you have a restaurant or a hotel, you can't just go there. I went to dinner with Butch a few times. Somebody had to sign the receipt.
Seats.
At the
Because
end
there
of
are
the
checks
dinner,
and balances. They have to account for it. It's
because
money.
you have to afford. So when people will say, oh, Alan took all the money, or Guy took the money, or this or that, you cannot. If 1 cent of government is not accounted for, it means that the books have not balanced, and somebody must answer to it. When you tell me a government that gave a road project for $43 million end up paying $101 million, and you not saying that there was corruption. You build a bridge in Guadoas, a bridge for $13 million. But you see all that work going on in Grozile, from Volney's gas station, 2 roundabouts, all of these drains, an overpass, median barriers, sidewalks, and all of that for $15 million, and you think there's a bubble in that. So if there's a bubble in all of that work for $15 million, how much bubble was there in the $13 million?
Whoa.
You see? So these are the questions that we are not asking. We are just taking it. So a lot of lies, a lot of deceit, that's what the Labour Party is about. So coming to your question now, with Jimmy Fletcher, I don't know that Jimmy Fletcher has ever indicated that he wants to be part of UW. People are fooled by PhDs, people who have doctorates with their names, associated to their names. How many presidents of the United States you have heard is Dr. So-and-so?
Not many.
Now that doesn't mean that they don't have a PhD,
Right.
or they don't have a degree that qualifies them to be called Dr. This. You see, in this region, a PhD is seen in a certain light. And I don't take anything away from that. My wife is a PhD. She has 2 masters and a PhD in educational leadership. So I'm not hitting that. But I'm just telling people, the richest people in the world don't have no degrees, but they are bright enough and they are smart enough to make so much money that they can hire the best accountant there is in the world, but they themselves cannot do their accounts. They have so much money, they can't do
Very
their
true.
accounts. They can hire the best accountant in the world. They can hire the best managers. But give these best managers the same business for them to make the money, and without the input of the owner, they cannot make the business
Very
successful.
true.
Because God does not give everybody the same talent, the same
Ability.
gift, and the same ability. So some of us are called to do different things, and some of us are good at what we do. So at the end of the day, I've told them there are two things they can conclude about. If I am able to be so corrupt and so crooked and make everything I do vanish, then I am the brightest man there is in St. Lucia, and I should be in charge of everything in St. Or the next option they have is they have to conclude, well, guy is clean, he didn't do anything. So they have to make their pick. Is either I'm smarter and I'm brighter than all of them. I remember they called me bus driver. They said I don't have no education. I can't read. I cannot do this. I cannot do this. Because that's what when you hear the people on the streets who say you cannot read and you listen to them, they can write their name the same way twice. But they will repeat the nonsense of the Labour Party. Some of them cannot draw their names and some of them cannot write them. But they will tell you how uneducated you are, as if they themselves are so educated. Now, I don't pick on people because of their educational background.
Yeah, neither do I.
So, Jimmy, I that some crazy flambos who are desperate came up with the idea that they need to find some doctor to run the United Workers' Party. But if there's one thing I know, every doctor who has led this country has made a mess with it.
Now, stay there, hold your thoughts. You said there are some United Workers' Party supporters who said that they needed to bring a doctor to run the party.
Now, I said I believe that some mad flubbo
person. Okay, some mad flubbo person. Good. Now, I am saying all this to say our people need to have self-confidence and to believe in themselves. It doesn't mean that if you do not have any form of a degree that you are foolish or that you are stupid. People need, and I realize in St. Lucia, a lot of people, if your name have doctor behind it, it's like they are worshiping you. But what our people need to understand, we need leaders who are going to listen to their cry. And having a doctor, a DR, a PhD behind your name doesn't mean you are going to push our country. Look, we have Ernest Hiller with his PhD, and he is doing a royal mess with our tourism industry. So the man is clueless. The man is clueless. The man does not understand the tourism industry. He is clueless. Go ahead.
But it's not just about tourism. He's clueless. If you want to see how clueless he is, he was the PS of Youth Development and Sports. He went to West Indies Cricket. You saw the royal mess he left with West Indies Cricket. How many cases did we lose as West Indies Cricket board? Because of his decisions. Because you see, how bright you are on paper is one thing. The application of some people have knowledge, but they have no wisdom.
Exactly.
Because wisdom is the ability to apply the knowledge that you have properly. So yes, you may have the knowledge, but can you apply it? So I may sit down and play a video game and I can fly a plane. And I know all the instruments in a plane. But can you give me a plane and tell me, go and fly this to Martinique? Will I be able to do it? Not necessarily. So I'm saying, having knowledge, having book knowledge, and most of these people, they have book knowledge. They can regurgitate everything that is written in a book. They can cram and they can pass an exam. But you go and let them use basic common sense to do work for you, and you would realize that they are clueless about what is to be done. And you have to guide you who never went to school to learn anything in that field. You have to be telling them, but why are you doing this?
Exactly. Exactly. Now let me butt in here, Mr. Joseph. People Well, the St. Lucia Labour Party, they said many terrible things about you, but you were indeed a worker. And had you won, or the United Workers' Party won the 2021 election, St. Lucians would have been smiling. You were working in order for your people of Castries South East to get reasonable homes. You sourced the funds from Dubai, right? I know that. You must be wondering how I know that. I know that. You sourced the funds from Dubai and you got it. And then to build those houses, but you lost. And what has Ernest and Hile and them brought from Dubai? You got that, but you were not boasting for everybody to hear. You worked, quietly for the people of Castries South East.
Yeah, because you see, what I believe in is when I promise the people the best representation, I meant that. And many times I would tell people, if I cannot give you 100%, then I don't want to be a part of the politics.
Right.
And a lot of people have been asking me, so what's the way forward? We don't want to hear you not running again. I said, look, 5 years is a long time. We will have time to make that decision because I have a lot of things to consider.
Yeah.
The mess that these people will leave St. Lucia in, it's going to take more than a miracle to turn St. Lucia around again. And I know that's why I have the greatest admiration and regard for Alan Shasley. People think that is because I never ask Alan Shasley for favors. I never ask Michael Shasley for favors. I do everything myself. Because you see, I will tell you something about me, Sohria. I grew up in a home where if you didn't have something, you had to do without it. My father taught, because I grew up primarily with my father, we were told, if you have no meat today, and it's breadfruit without meat you eat your breadfruit. Nobody ought to know you don't have meat today. Even today, if my wife asks me, do you want breakfast? I have a difficulty in answering that. And she would tell me, so that is such a difficult question to answer. Because I always tell her, you don't ask people if they want things. You give it to them. And now, it's amazing how you grow up and how much of an impact that it has on you.
On your life,
Yes.
Yes.
And so, when they say I have all of these things and I take money from investors, I never ask. I've never asked an investor for $1 for me. If I ask anything of any, is what they can do in the constituency, education-wise or something. I cannot, and even that for me is difficult. When I run the first election, and they can go and check the record at the Bank of St. Lucia, I use my business money to run the election.
Whoa.
With the hope that we were going to get back the money. With Sir John, once you win the election, you're on your own. Being on your own, it meant that you had to, so my overdraft was at 13% interest. So when I realized I could not pay the overdraft because we won the elections, I was not getting any funding from anywhere. And I'm saying this to make a point to you. When that happened, I went to the bank and I asked them to convert my overdraft into a loan. And so the loan was at a low interest rate, I think somewhere 8 or 9%. And they have enough labor hacks in the Bank of St. Lucia. Because sometimes I think that the Bank of St. Lucia is an extension of the Labour Party, or they more labor than the Labour Party. Anyway, so I said to them, convert my overdraft into a loan. And then I sent my salary as a minister to the bank to pay off the loan. So every month I paid from that. less than 2 months after we won the election, a certain foreign government sent their reps to see me at the office. And they said, you made a lot of promises during the elections. We want to help you out with the election promises that you made. So we will offer you $100,000 worth of projects in the constituency. I said, oh, that's wonderful. I mean, there are lots of things that we need to do. So I said to them, I'm going to send the engineers from the ministry to evaluate the projects. We will send the projects to them, and then we will make the arrangement. When they were going so, I saw a brown envelope on the table.
Now, not cutting you short, just for you all to know that Mr. Guy Joseph is not making up any stories. When he was a minister of government, I sat in his office for 3 hours and he told me his life history. Even that thing he's coming and tell you there, now he told it to me. So he's not making up stories.
I don't have to make up stories on anything in life. If I have to do that, God will punish me.
Yes.
But what happened, I was given a computer and a digital camera as a gift, and I saw the envelope. And I said to the two gentlemen who were there, I will not say which country because I respect that there are certain things here. And they said, well, that's the money to do the project. I said, but that cannot be done this way. I cannot, as a minister of government, I cannot receive money from anybody. I have to go through the process.
Exactly.
And I literally had to insist that they live with the money. It was afterwards I realized that they were recording all that transpired. So you know what? If I had accepted that money, I would have been compromised, and I would never be able to speak from a position of influence. And that's why I tell people, I cannot be bribed, I cannot be bought, and I cannot be sold. So yes, the Labour Party has done a number on me. They have damaged my reputation. They have attacked my family. They have said all kinds of things about me. And a lot of people in St. Lucia believe it. It's unfortunate. I cannot change that. I cannot change what people choose to believe. But on your show tonight, I am challenging them. All of those who believe that I was involved in corruption, put their money together with the government and carry out the investigation and see what you all come up with. Because if Robert Lindquist, who is one of the leading fraud investigators in the world, was involved with the Enron case at the NFL, and anybody can go and read about Robert Lindquist on the internet, spent 5 years, almost 5 years in St. Lucia. The papers are in the cabinet secretary's office as we speak today, and that's why I tell you, everybody think that I got favors from Alan Shasley, and Alan Shasley did things for Guy Joseph. I felt that I got a raw deal when it came to my reputation. I begged of the Attorney General, I begged of the Prime Minister, I begged of my cabinet colleagues. I said, I cannot defend myself on these things. Because all they will say, that is what we expect you to say. But here it is, 70 pounds worth of paper, not $70 or UK currency. In terms of weight, the weight of the paper that was shipped to St. Lucia from Robert Lindquist weighed 70 pounds. I think it was sent either through FedEx or UPS. So they had the hard paper and they had a thumb drive with all of the information. I begged, I pleaded, I asked my colleagues, can we at least put a statement, get a lawyer, get a team to review the documents that have been sent. And I'm saying to Philip J. Pierre and his government tonight, you all have all the papers in the office. So what is it you all are looking for on Guy Joseph? If you think that Robert Lindquist had something, use it. All the paper is in the office. It is still there. But you see, when you live in a country where you determine from a young person growing up to be honest, to be truthful, to stand for what you believe in and what you know to be right. Now, sometimes you stand for things that may be wrong, but you stand for it because of the conviction that you have as a person.
Yes.
So I'm not saying that I have always been right.
Yes.
But it is so unfair that you have chosen the path of honesty and truth, and that all of these things are laid against you. And the evidence is there to show that there's nothing, but nobody else will come forward. With the exception of Alan Chasney, nobody else ever said a word to defend Guy Joseph. And I can say it without fear of criticism. I believe that some of my own colleagues who sat with me in cabinet believe some of the things that were said about me. I don't hold no grudges against anybody for these things. Because when the Labour Party speaks, they can even convince, if you're not careful, they're speaking about you, and they can almost convince you that you are somebody else. That is what the Labour Party does most of the time. So at the end of the day, I know that my reputation is damaged, but I can walk proud anywhere I go in St. Lucia. I don't have to walk with shrugged shoulders or with my head hung. Nobody can find anywhere in government. Because how many times my wife asked me, you sure they cannot make up something and frame you? I said, they're not more powerful than God. You cannot find what is not there. And I don't even believe that they can frame me. Because for them to frame me, the distance they would have to go to do so. So at the end of the day, I am free. And I am still challenging Philip J. Pierre and the Labour Party. When you're investigating, don't do your investigation secretly. He said there was never an investigation on me. He stood in the Parliament of St. Lucia and he said that he was on Andre Paul's program and he said he never knew there was an investigation. That never happened. I came to the Parliament and I brought cabinet conclusion when the decision was made, and I brought the register of everybody who was present at the cabinet, and Philip J. Pierre was present. But that's what these men do. They lie for their living. That's why they are able to survive in politics to the extent. If that's what I have to do to survive in politics, then let me be out of politics. Because I am selling my soul for politics.
For the devil.
I refuse to do that.
Now let me ask you a question. Stephenson King, based on what he said when he left the United Workers' Party government, he said that there was no respect for him when he was at cabinet meetings. Is that so? Expound for me, please.
Let me tell you something. In time, Stephenson King will pay for what he has done. Nobody was shown greater respect in the cabinet than Stephenson King. I never sat in a cabinet meeting where Stephenson King was disrespected. Stephenson King sat next to Alan Chasney. I was the furthest away from Alan Chasney in the cabinet. I sat at the other end of the table. In other words, I sat at the bottom of the table. Alan sat at the top of the table. On one side of him was the cabinet secretary, and on the next side of him was Stephenson King. And most times when he stepped out of the cabinet, Stephenson King took over and chaired the cabinet meetings. And all of us supported Steve in chairing the cabinet meetings, because anybody who was chairing cabinet meeting, we would see how quickly we would go through the agenda. And Stevenson King had the record for ending cabinet the earliest, whenever he chaired cabinet. So whenever he was there, any time the prime minister would have stepped out, if the acting prime minister was not there, Stevenson King, once he was present, would be the one chairing the meeting. So you wanted to leave and go and play your politics with the Labour Party. You had sold us out a long time already. But you don't have to add lies. Why are you going to say, if he was, maybe he was uncomfortable in cabinet because he knew what he was doing. But it's not because anything. A few times I raised matters, and I can show you the record. I had 7 roads. I went to Taiwan with the Prime Minister to negotiate the loans for the road program. I had 7 roads to be done in my constituency under the Taiwanese funded project. Stevenson King took out all 7 roads from the list.
Whoa.
Go back and see the record, and you will see the only road that was paid through the Taiwanese funded project in my constituency was the Fromage Road. And the Fromage Road was not supposed to be part of that project. It was supposed to be done by Charles Dyer nationwide years before that came into effect. But Steve deliberately delayed the commencement of work on that road. So, and he tied up together with the VG Road to get his VG Road done, and then that is how Fromage ended up. Not a single other road in the 7 roads that I had. So how did Fresh Start end up doing road in my constituency? Or how did Skelly end up doing the Forestier Road? It was because they removed all of my roads, and I said there's no way. I negotiated, did all of that work, and my constituency is being neglected and rejected in that manner. And I can tell you, Nancy Charles had, as the implementation person in the Prime Minister's office, had the list of all the roads in my constituency. So I knew Steve was fighting us. You know what I said to the Prime Minister, Alan Shastley? I said, you see, anything pertaining to Steve, I will not bother you about it. I will not say anything. I will not do anything. Just left everything. Said anything pertaining to Steve in the cabinet because I knew that Steve was playing a game with the United Workers' Party. I knew he was shafting the UWP supporters left, right, and center. Our own people were not getting work from him. You know what they did to me? And you know that also because you live up there. They took a group of persons from Mondidon and sent them to clear the bush in Chef Harry Drive. And then my people were bawling about it and making noise and say how I take people from outside the constituency to come and cut grass in the constituency. And
Oh
then
my
they
God, this is cruel. What?
And when I started calling and making inquiries about it, they said it's a mistake they made. It's not there they had sent the people to. I can give you another example. You see that drain opposite the St. Benedict Center? That drain was done by a group of persons from Steve's constituency again. When I passed there and I saw roadworks going on there, I called the chief engineer. You know what they told me? They didn't know that the St. Benedict Center was part of my constituency.
Really?
That was part of Castries East.
Castries East? No.
Yes. So, no, but they didn't say Castries South, you know. They said they thought it was part of Castries East. The drain of the St. Benedict Center goes
That's
to the
Castries
South
Southeast.
Community College. When Q1 is Sir Arthur Lewis Community College.
Oh
You
my
think that's all?
God.
You think that's all? He went and he gave Alvin a contract to do something in my constituency.
Whoa. No
And
wonder,
then-
not cutting you short, no wonder some people within the constituency got upset with you. So let me tell you something. You not within your seat also was at the hands of this man king.
So I'm giving you other examples because You see, people want to come and say things. I'm not the kind of person. I don't cry over spilled milk. I let things be what they are. There was a job to be done in the constituency with the bypass bridge. There was some work to be done down there for the Japanese to start the project. He went and he promised Alvin the job. Some fella that's his close friend. He sent the direct award to the Prime Minister to be signed. When the Prime Minister, now that is a courtesy that the PM afforded every one of his ministers. Once a direct award came, all the minister and find out, Minister, are you aware that this thing is coming? So when the thing came to the Prime Minister, Alan Chasney to sign, Alan called me and asked me, Guy, are you aware that there's that project being done in your constituency and there's a direct award for that amount of money? So I said, no, I'm not aware of that. He said, okay. So he did not sign the direct award. So the direct award stayed there for a couple of weeks. He called Steve and he told Steve, well, you need to speak to the minister. Eventually, because the work had to be done, Steve had no choice, so he called me. He asked me, do you have a name for that project and whatever? Because I said, he told me, well, he had recommended somebody. I said, Minister, but you recommended somebody for the work already. So isn't that an expectation that the person has? And if you don't give them the job, wouldn't that cause a rift for you? And he said, yeah, but you know, it's your constituency. So I'm saying to myself, but it was always my constituency before, so why wasn't I consulted? I said, Minister, you have promised your people a job. You go ahead and give them the job. When there's another job, I will give it to somebody in my constituency. Steve will have the heart today to come out and make people believe that people were doing him things. I can tell you what he did. He went and executed projects under the Taiwanese funded project that was not supervised by anybody in my ministry. And then he sent the bills to the ministry to be paid. So you see, when people want to come and talk about corruption, and the $5 million that they said that I promised, I can tell you, there were 2 ministers at the meeting at a restaurant in Grozil. When one of the ministers wrote on a piece of paper and passed it on to Antonio Asenza, who was the owner of Asphalt and Mine. And then Asenza wrote on the piece of paper and passed it back to the minister. And what the minister was asking was a certain amount of money to get the project, the airport project approved. That was between 2006 and 2011. Fortunately, the other minister who was present at the meeting, he called Asenza afterwards and he said, Mr. Asenza, I apologize for what happened. I have no part with this. If I knew that's what this meeting was about, I would not have been a part of the meeting. And he apologized for what happened. And definitely the minister who was there was not Guy Joseph and not Stevenson King. But Stevenson King knows which minister was there and what. And the talk was around. So you see that $5 million they talk about? That $5 million was never about Guy Joseph. But it was easy and convenient for them to label it on Guy Joseph. And there are many persons who know about it because the conversations took place. Asenza used to come here on a private jet. Afterwards, twice they came here on a private jet. And he said on both occasions his plane was sabotaged at the airport. And they had to do one emergency landing in Cayman Islands and one emergency landing in some other place. because I guess what they wrote on the paper and what transpired, and from after that, they never came to St. Louis on a private plane again. They took commercial flights to come to St. Lucia. So I know the people that I deal with. So when there was a threat on my life, you think I didn't take it serious? I took it serious because I know the nature of the individuals who are and what they were willing to do. So when the people of St. Lucia will look and they will want to label persons, and in time I will come back to you, and we will speak about Sir John. Because you know what? When none of them could go and see Sir John, I was one of the few persons who had the opportunity. Because you know what? When I heard about the Super 8 and all of that, because I was supposed to be part of the Super 8, so I said I wasn't going. At a funeral in the church in Miku, Lady Janice came to me and said, John is asking for you. Why are you not coming and see him? I said I didn't know that it was okay for me to come and see him. But if it's okay, I will come and see him. So she asked me to just inform her when I would be coming. And I went to see Sir John and we had some conversations and I knew where his head was at. So I know why he didn't dissolve the parliament. And I didn't know it secondhand. You know who was the biggest advocate for Sir John not dissolving Parliament? The late Sir James Mitchell of St. Vincent.
Yeah, he was very close to the party. Yeah.
So I know. So the amount of things that I know. That's why I tell you, when I don't come and repeat things just out of convenience. It's not fair and it's not right. If I disagree with something, I can state my reasons for disagreeing with it. But for people to just feel that they can label you and they can brand you and they can call you all names. I have my accounts are in St. Lucia. I do not have a single account outside of St. Lucia. So if the Labour Party wanted to find out what I have, and I'll tell them something. I'm not stupid to do things and put it in other people's names. Because that's what they say. I have this and I have that and I have it in people's names. I will do things and put it in people's names. Every business I've done with my family. I've never done business outside of my family. And not even all of my family. One brother and one sister that we've always done business together. We always share everything that we have as a family. So my vehicles, any one of my brothers, sisters, anybody, that's how we operate. That's how, because we grew up together, we had each other when we grew up, and we are still there for each other. So, people want to look at you, and it's unfortunate, and that is why politics will not attract good people. You see, as long as the Labour Party and the present crop of people in the Labour Party, and I don't know how they are able to indoctrinate people in the Labour Party. Once the Labour Party is in politics, you will continue to get more undesirable characters on both sides of the political divide coming into politics. Because people who are genuine and honest will find it very difficult. People ask me, how are you able to take all of that? How are you able to cope every day? I mean, my wife is the most wonderful person. My wife will not step on an ant. She will never do something that is crooked or corrupt. The Labour Party has labeled her and called her all kinds of names. They've said, what will these fellas not do? You think I don't know things about them? You think I don't know things about their family that I can say? But I choose not to go down that path in politics because I know things about their wives, I know things about their children, I know things about their brothers, I know things about their sisters, I know things, but where does that come in the politics? There's no place in our politics. We are a small society. Everybody is connected to one person in one way or the other. I've been attacked because I'm Indian. I can tell you a lot of the attacks on me are racial. I'm seen as a thief primarily because I'm an Indian. And I know it because I've heard the conversations from them. And if there's one, from a child growing up, I could not steal oranges, I could not steal mangoes, because in my mind, once you go and steal, somebody will ask you, hey, what you doing? And
Right.
I've always been a coward when it comes to these things. So to think that I like freedom, Susan, I like to be my own person. I like to be on the side of right. So I would never do things in government that tomorrow I have to worry about, boy, if they find out that, what are you going to do? I am the
Exactly.
happiest man that you can find because I know there's nothing to find. I didn't do anything. I didn't go about firing people. I didn't get rid of people. When I was in charge of WASCO for 5 years. And I want them to show me one person that I came to install in a job at WASCO. I
Very
was in
true.
charge of SLAP. Show
Yes.
me one person that I installed in a job at SLASPA. I have a track record that they cannot dispute. And they know that. When I have conversations one-on-one with them. The other thing I wanted to say, this thing that Joachim said, it is so sad. It is so sad. And, it still bothers me today that he said that I said things about his son's death on the platform. And he had it on record.
Yeah.
Up to a day like today. Now, when you're going to take your own son and you're going to make up lies involving, because he's the one who told lies about him, not me. Nobody can find a record. I'm not even concerned that maybe I said something that somebody recorded. I defended this family. When I heard negative things about them, I defended them. People tell me, boy, your fellas, on say Jean l'Église, hot couillon, or pas qu'on net by about mauvais thing. People came right over that, and I defended Joachim and his family. And then he turned around and he did that. Now he's won the election. He has his free hand to reign in the constituency. I heard that I spoiled the people of Castries Southeast and I was doing too many things for the people. And now if the people think that they can do all the things that I didn't spoil the people. I gave them the representation that I promised them. And so at the end of the day, when you achieve things through ill-fated means, I couldn't cheat when I was playing cricket. I couldn't cheat when I was playing marbles. That's not my style. You'll give me a house full of money to watch. I was the treasurer of our church for a period of time. Anytime the budget did not balance, I'll take my whole salary and put in it to make sure it balanced. Because church money, I have the highest respect for anybody who gives $1 of church money. So all my life I've dealt with money. And I've never been tempted to steal $1 from anybody. I've gone to shops and they gave me money that was more than I believe was the change. That happened to me in the US. And I said to the lady, no, you gave me too much. She said, no, I am right. And I went there and I went away. And my mind was still troubled because I'm saying, if that person's cash does not balance, I can make the person take the money because they insist that they are right in what they do. So people think that they can just look at you, they can brand you, and they can label you, and that because you're in government. My only sin is that I ran elections against the Labour Party. That is the only wrong that I have done. If I had run politics with the Labour Party, I would be a saint. I would be the best thing that ever happened to St. Lucia. Because you know what? I've always been a hard worker. I used to be a farmer. I was selling 150 boxes of bananas, and I used to work the 5 acres of land myself, alone. The only day I used to hire people is on harvesting day. So I've known hard work. All my life I've worked hard. So when I came into government, I felt stifled in government. I felt that I could have done 3 times the amount of work that I did in government as to what I achieved. But it's just the bureaucracy of government. You don't have a choice. You have to follow.
Oh my goodness, Mr. Joseph, tonight you have said so much to us. You need to come back on my show. It is nearing 11. You need to come back on my show, because even me, you said so many things that I did not know, and I am assuming that my followers, my viewers themselves did not know anything about that. You have been such a fantastic guest. So in closing, just say your last words to our guests, and you are to our viewers, sorry, and you are going to come back as my guest again.
Thank you so much for having me, Soso, and I congratulate you for what you are doing, for allowing me a free hand to express myself the way that I am comfortable. And I know a lot, my wife always tells me, you know, you very animated when you speak. That's how I do it. That's how I'm me. I am not, I cannot put on another face. That's who I am. But I just want to say to all followers and listeners to Lies and Deceit that tonight you've heard the truth from my perspective. And it's not just the truth from my perspective. Anywhere you go, that's what the truth is going to be. And I've always said to people, you see, when you speak the truth, you never have to remember what you said the last time.
Very true. My father always said that.
The truth is always the truth.
Amen.
So I look forward, and I want to thank the people of Castries Southeast very much, even if we did not win the election. I know that the 15 years I had in the Parliament of St. Lucia, it's through your hard work and dedication, and I know that we started the work of transforming Castries Southeast. I am hoping that Mr. Henry will continue some of the good work. He may not continue with everything we started, but the same people, I am hoping that the St. Lucia Labour Party does not neglect Castries Southeast and would continue some of the good work and would initiate projects that are beneficial to all the people. I am proud of my community, I am proud of my constituency, and I'm proud of the people of Castries Southeast. And no matter what happens, you will continue to hear from me in the future. Thank you, and God bless all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. It was wonderful having you here tonight. And I know you, my viewers, in TV land, in Facebook and YouTube, you did enjoy the show. You can catch me again on Saturday at 8:30, where we rap and where we talk. And I have a lot of guests coming in again to speak and to rap with us. So have a good night. Remember to support the show. Yeah, you'll love the show. You'll love the show. The link is pinned on the live. Go support the show by buying coffees for Soso. I love you all immensely. So have a wonderful night. And you know, we had a little jig with Flo, but you know, they had to settle. So we thank God for that, and I thank God for you all. Remember, support us, Vitus, GVD TV, Flow 115. Thank you, Vitus. It was just fantastic being with you tonight. I love all of you. Be good.